You know, you can take 5-10 minutes of questions at the end of your talk.
Every hallway looked the same shoes, same brands, same logos.
When something works long enough, it quietly becomes who you think you are.
About the economy that is building around this campus.
As we have these rehearsals, I want you to come up here and do it like you're gonna do it the day of. We'll give some feedback to help you strengthen it so that when you get up here, you just feel more comfortable. I think their topics are solid. I think their presentation is gonna be great. And I'm looking forward to see how they do when the lights and camera turn on and the audience is full of people. And I think they're gonna do some great work, so I'm excited.
Check. 1, 2, 2, 2.
You know, we're here. I'm cool. I'm really excited. I was told there was going to be a lot of alumni here. I love talking to COBE alumni. I have some of my friends and close friends coming. I'm really excited. I'm very excited for Dr. Cole, though. We're a lot of work into this. Hoping it's a success for her.
Thank you. I'm excited. Are you excited?
Yes, I'm so excited.
I can tell. I can tell. Y'all look great.
Yeah.
You smell good. Your hair's nice. You laid your sides down. You did good. And just let the people get to hear what I've been hearing for the last month or two. You did great.
I feel like my body is I feel like it's racing a little bit, but mentally, I'm kind of calm right now. I don't know if that's gonna change, once I see people go, but I just know I gotta take a deep breath, leave it to God, talk slowly. I hopefully do well. I think so, maybe a little, but before this, my roommate, because my roommate, he has a big thing tonight too, because he's running for Mr. Honors and he has a speech, and I have my thing, so we said a prayer together. We really kind of hyped each other up and to get into mindset and take away all nervousness. I usually get nervous with things, but like I said, I just really gotta push through, take a breath, and hopefully, God willing, I'll get in my groove.
I'm feeling good. You know, it's kind of that nervous presenter energy, but that's good energy though. I'm gonna use that to my advantage and just walk in purpose. And the good thing is I'm talking about something that I know about, that I'm passionate about. So I'm gonna just get up there and do what God called me to do. So I'm excited.
Excited to have you all join us this evening. Just overjoyed by our 3 speakers tonight. I believe that you all will be thoroughly impressed by their presentations. And so thank you all for being a part of tonight's live studio audience. There will be a span of time after their presentation where you can ask a couple of questions. So if we're gonna do a Q&A after their presentations tonight, so start thinking about some questions you might want to ask them based on their presentation. But again, thank you all for joining us tonight, and welcome to the Willie A. Dees College of Business, and welcome to COBE Talks. So let's get started.
So it's pretty clear to see that our clothes are our voices before we get to say anything, and that's how people judge us. So from there, sticking to it, learning the ways of the craft, learning the tools of the trade, celebrate yourself.
I could have went on and on. I'm glad he did give me the cutoff because I would probably still be up there talking. I would have lived with regret if I wouldn't have made this trip. And I would have always wondered what if, but whether I get it or not, I did my job.
My degree I plan on getting my degree in May for liberal studies with a concentration in entrepreneurship and innovation. People might have often used to ask me, well, why don't you go to school for fashion or something like that, textiles? But what I really believe though, ever since I was younger and I first started my brand, that fashion was something that I had the ability to teach myself. What I really needed to learn from school was how to turn my hustle into a business.
And for the older students and people that are older than me that might be thinking about going back, just understand that it's not too late. And if you wake up, you still have another chance to get better, and that means there's still work for you to do.
The month is April. The year is 2010. Spring semester, sophomore year at Southeast Raleigh High School. Now every hallway looked the same. Same brands, same shoes, same logos. Think different people, same presentation. I can remember this specific day after school. I was walking through the hallways with my headphones on, no music playing, and I was wearing something different, something unique. My own personal style, you could say. Now, the popular style at the time was Ralph Lauren polos, Levi jeans, Sperry topsiders, New Balances, and the occasional Air Jordan release. Now, I can't remember exactly what I had on that day, but I knew it wasn't that. But I wanted those clothes, if we're being honest. $60, $70 shirts, $100, $150 jeans. But my parents weren't having that, no. My mother's logic was simple. We're gonna buy these dress clothes so you could look presentable in school and at church. 2 birds, 1 stone. But if I'm being honest, I wanted those clothes and I couldn't get them. So I didn't have these big brands to hide behind in my closet. I had to develop a style out of what I already had. A true art form when done correctly, but everybody didn't see it that way. This specific day after school, I was walking through the hallway and some upperclassmen thinking I couldn't hear said, "What's little bruh got on?" Or maybe it was, "What is little bruh wearing?" Now, I could have answered their question, but I figured they weren't, really asking for fashion advice. But then I thought to myself, this is exactly why people are afraid to be themselves and step outside of the box. Because as soon as they do, there's people that make them feel crazy for doing it. And let's be real, clothes are just the surface level of that. Soon you're applying for schools that you don't really want to go to. You're choosing majors that aren't really in your interest. You're dating people that, aren't really your type. And next thing you know, you're looking up and you're living a life that's not even yours. So I realized clothing wasn't the issue, the conformity was. And I started to realize something deeper. Conformity isn't just social, it's economic. And there's no doubt about it that in today's world, social conformity is a true market force. Think about it. You could be scrolling and looking at Instagram, and next thing you know, you see something you like, maybe a brand, an outfit, and something that makes you think, I need that. And that's not by design. Research backs this up. More than half of fashion consumers use platforms like Instagram for style inspiration, which means that before we even decide, we've already been influenced. And because of that, trend cycles move faster and faster. Not just seasons anymore, weeks, sometimes even days. And when trends speed up, spending does too. According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average household spends hundreds of dollars every year on not just clothing, but on footwear. But here's the thing, it's not just about the amount that they spend, it's about the frequency. Because trends create pressure. Pressure to stay up to date, pressure to have the latest things, and pressure to not feel left behind. And social media, that just speeds all of that up, especially with the younger generations where micro trends seem to come and go overnight. But it's deeper than just spending. Branding actually creates belonging. Studies show that 60 to 65% of consumers feel connected to brands that actually reflect their identity. And that's powerful because people don't just buy clothes and products, they buy signals. Signals of who they are, signals of what they believe, and sometimes signals of who they're trying to become. So that means those shoes aren't just shoes. That hoodie isn't just a hoodie. They're your voices before we even get to say words. And brands that understand that, they win. Brands like Nike, brands like Apple, brands like Supreme, they don't sell clothes, they sell identity. They sell belonging. They sell connection, which means that people don't just buy once, they stay. Research shows emotionally connected customers are twice as valuable than those who are just satisfied. Because belonging creates loyalty, which creates repeat purchases, which creates people promoting the brand without even being asked. And all of this is actually rooted in something deeper. Psychologists call it social proof. It's the idea that we look to other people to decide what's normal, what's valuable, what's worth having. So if everybody's wearing it, it must be right. If everybody wants it, it must matter. In fashion turns that instinct into a marketplace. When one influencer wears something, millions of people see it, and all of them are trying to answer the same question. What should I be wearing? So the bigger picture becomes this. Branding works because it taps into a basic human need, belonging. But here's where the problem starts. Because when we don't define ourselves, we allow the market to do it for us. When people are unsure of who they really are, they naturally look outward to trends, to influencers, to brands. And in that moment, identity doesn't become something that you build internally. It's something that we borrow externally. And it leads to a very simple truth. Consumption is easy. Creation is risky. With a few clicks, y'all know how it goes. Apple Pay, Amazon Prime, 1-day shipping, 2-day shipping, same day shipping. You can buy the look. You can buy the feeling. You can buy that connection. And that right there is what consumption is all about. Now, creation, that's risky. Creation requires uncertainty. It allows you to look in the mirror and ask yourself, what do I really like when no one is telling me what to like? Creation means building an idea from nothing into something, whether that's a brand, a design, and putting it into the world, not knowing how people will react to it. And economically, that difference matters. Consumers spend money. Creators build assets. Consumers keep the cycle going. Creators build something that outlasts that cycle or even creates a new cycle all on its own. And the best creators find ways to do that again and again and again. So we're back in time, sophomore year of high school, 15 years old, no capital, no real business experience, unless you count the occasional yard work and selling candy at school, which I got in trouble for, by the way. But I did have something, even if I didn't fully understand it yet. I had two parents who carried entrepreneurial ambitions of their own. You see, my mother, she worked multiple hair salons, and growing up, I got something that most kids my age wouldn't have noticed. I saw what it looked like to make a living, not from an hourly wage, but from relationships. Her income didn't come from a clock, but from clientele, the people who trusted her and came back again and again. And even after she stopped working full days in the salon, something stuck with her. What business people call a book of clients, a group of loyal customers she could rely on week to week, month to month. And watching that taught me an early lesson about ownership. When you build trust with people, you build something that continues to pay you long after the work is done. Now, my father, he showed me something different. Through network marketing, I saw the power of teams. I learned that growth doesn't come from doing everything yourself, but building something with other people. And looking back, those experiences, they taught me what I know now, and that belief before I even had a language in it. Sometimes it's better to be part of something big than own all of something small. Think 1% of a watermelon versus 100% of a grape. Those lessons would come back to help me later in ways that I couldn't have imagined. But at 15, there was still so much I didn't know. I didn't know what a supply chain was, didn't know what profit margins were. I didn't know what a business plan looked like, or that I was even supposed to have one. But I did know something, and that was much more simpler. I knew what it felt like to walk into spaces and not see myself reflected. And I knew exactly what it felt like the day those kids said that thing to me in the hallway. And that led me on a journey that's lasted me 16 years and is still lasting me today. Because sometimes those feelings, they become fuel. So even though I lack capital, connections, experience, or even a real understanding of what business looked like, I made a decision. If I couldn't find what I was looking for, I would build it myself. And that decision brings us here today. Now, a journey building something from the ground up is no real easy thing, and I kept thinking about the problem. And naturally, that led me to the solution. Because if the problem was conformity, then the solution had to be identity. And I came to the realization that honestly changed everything for me. When all of us are truly being ourselves, there's no way to get that wrong. We're all naturally one of one. There's no competition in originality. In every way, in every time we try to be like someone else, we're robbing the world of who we're really meant to be and robbing the world of what we're really meant to contribute. So I remember thinking back at those moments after school, hearing people give their opinions about what was fly. And it had a shift in my mindset. I thought to myself, who are they to tell me that what I have on is not fly? It's fly because I'm doing me. And that's something that nobody else can do. Not because I'm trying, but because it's in me. It's in my nature. Fly, nature. Fly, nature. Fly by nature. And then it hit me. It wasn't just like that, but soon after I realized it wasn't just a name, it was a philosophy. The simplest way I could explain it was through the motto that we created and never changed. Celebrate yourself. Now it sounds simple, but it actually carries weight because celebrating yourself isn't arrogance, it's alignment. It's choosing to fully step into who you are instead of shrinking into the world and telling the world and letting the world tell you who you're meant to be. And what I didn't realize at the time was that this message didn't belong to a small group of people. This wasn't just for fashion people. This wasn't just for a certain style or background. It applied to everybody, all ages, all races, genders, all walks of life, without even knowing it. We went from a niche idea to a universal message. But that message actually meant something we had to figure out. Who we were as a brand. Because identity isn't just important for people, it's important for business. Once we knew who we were, we could move differently. We could price differently. We could market differently, build differently. We weren't tempted to copy what everybody else was doing. Now, once I made that decision to really go for it, I knew I couldn't do it alone. So I started building a team. And honestly, in high school, that was the easy part because you're around people every day, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. So the real challenge was this. We didn't have products. We didn't have resources. We didn't have a real blueprint. So we did what we could do. We just started creating content. We took clothes that already existed and styled them in ways that felt like us. And people noticed. There was a buzz, not just at our school, but schools and high schools across the city too. People wanted to be a part of it. And that's when we evolved from photo shoots to fashion shows. And I'm thankful for the teachers that gave us that space to grow, because eventually I realized something. Fly by Nature couldn't just be content. It couldn't just be a group of people modeling clothes. It had to be something tangible, something real. So around 2011, we started creating our own pieces. And if I'm being honest, they weren't anything special, but at the same time they were, because they were ours. And at 16 years old, that was enough. You know, I always tell people the greatest advantage of starting early is that you get to make your mistakes early. Because in business, you have to learn to appreciate the small beginnings. Looking back, I honestly feel like God was keeping me hidden because he was still working on me, still molding me, not just for building the brand, but building the man behind the brand. Because if we would have blown up too early, I don't know, those first products might have destroyed our credibility just as fast as we got it. Okay, let me paint a picture for you. This was before Canva, before Photoshop, definitely before ChatGPT. It was just me, a sketchbook, and colored pencils. My friends would be playing PlayStation, probably 2K. And since only, 2 people could play at a time, that was my moment and my window to sit there and create. I would draw a design, trace it in pen, erase the extra lines, color it in, then go to Walmart, come back home, buy transfer paper, scan the design, print it out, cut it out, peel it out, iron it on a shirt, and just like that, we had one shirt. So just imagine, if we had 1,000, 2,000 orders back in 2011, what time is it? I probably would have just finished those about 10 minutes ago. But here's the part that matters. The process taught me everything, because once I took step 1, step 2 revealed itself. I didn't know I needed better quality until I saw the limitations of what I was doing, which led to screen printing. Then screen printing had its limits, which led to direct transfer, and then embroidery. And step by step, level by level, we went up. Now, from the outside, it might have looked like steady progress, but I'll be honest, at that time, it felt like failure. Over and over and over again, mistake after mistake. But in hindsight, we weren't failing down. We were failing forward. We were failing up. And that gave me something that can't be downloaded, can't be bought, can't be skipped. Experience. Because today, someone can definitely start a brand with the tools I didn't have, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Canva, AI, they can move faster. But here's the difference. The mistakes they make today, we made back then. So while they have more resources, we have more reps. And that's a certain level of mastery, only one that comes from actually being in the field. That early courage to step into the field, it gave me something bigger than business skills. It gave me ownership. And ownership isn't just financial. It's psychological. There's a quote that says, ownership is the highest form of economic self-expression. And I've lived that because I've had jobs I've been fired from, not because I did anything wrong, of course, jobs I quit, jobs that ended unexpectedly, but through all of that, my business was still standing. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I was building something that no one could take away from me. Not just income, not just products, but the ability to create, to produce, to stand on my own. That's the real power. And while I don't believe everyone is meant to start a clothing brand, I do believe this. Everybody has something in them that they can turn into ownership, a skill, a gift, an idea, something that allows them to stop being just a consumer and become a creator. So when you really think about it, the message of the brand and the story of how it started are the same. Fly by Nature was never just about clothes. It was about refusing to be a commodity, not just as a business, but as a person. So let's go back to that hallway one more time. Something different. Imagine a hallway where no one's trying to fit in, where people are building, creating, owning. When I say celebrate yourself, I'm not talking about fashion. I'm talking about alignment. I'm talking about courage. I'm talking about ownership, because the real success in Fly by Nature was never just what we built. It was what people went on to build after, whether it's businesses, launching their careers, and that's when they know that they're fully on their own. And what I understood, the goal was never for everyone to follow me. The goal was to people to follow themselves, to find themselves. So no, we don't need another clothing brand. We need more individuals brave enough to build instead of blend in, to create instead of consume, to own instead of imitate, to celebrate themselves. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God. Oh. Questions? Or are there any questions? Yo, what's up, bro?
So, I wanted to know like your perspective on like, I know A&T is not necessarily a fashion school, but I know like first day of school is a big thing with clothing. So like, how do you like view the trend of like, maybe as someone coming into the school, like the pressure of like, not being able to like kind of dress good, feel good, you know, that type of thing. So how do you kind of feel that?
Yeah, for sure. To be honest, bro, I think it's just confidence, because what happens is, and I'm only speaking from experience, it was tough at first because I'm in a school and everybody's going this way, but I'm deciding to swim upstream, you know? And at first you get pushed back, but after a while you keep at it and people kind of know you as the one of being yourself, and they kind of respect you for that. It's been plenty of times that I will wear something, and before we go out, my friends will be like, "That's your fit?" And they're asking, you know, in a like, you know, but eventually though, literally people would say to me, you know, I don't know if I would have wear that, but that's your style, you know? So when you start to brand yourself as someone who's truly not afraid to be themselves, people respect you for it. It's harder to do, but the more you do it, the more confident you become. And then eventually people might say like, you know, I don't know about that, but I trust him and he must know what he's doing. So it's that type of situation. Yeah. What's up?
Who your dad? But really, I'm so proud of you. What's your ambitions after college, after you finish getting your degrees?
Yeah, for sure. Degrees with an S, exactly. Well, you know, for a long time, when I first started here at A&T, I was talking to freshmen and people, and they were just so undecided. Like, you know, I'm not really sure what I want to do. I'm undecided. I don't know my major. I don't know what business path. And remember, we started in high school. So when I got to A&T, we were already running the brand. So I felt like, you know, I don't know how much I need school to just do this. I could just do it because I'm already doing it. And then I left. But then what I realized is I can know I'm great. I can know I'm brilliant. But society, sometimes the only way that they know is that proof, is that piece of paper. You know, so sometimes, like you tell me, the system works when you work the system. After this degree, I plan on getting my master's, plan on getting my PhD, but I plan on really taking a full swing and working on the brand without the pressure of, you know, online classes or in-person classes, because I never really gave my chance to do that without school. It was either I'm in school and school was my first priority and the brand came second, or the brand was my first priority, but I couldn't get through all the doors I might've been trying to get through because I didn't have that degree behind me. So I'm excited to see how it will go when I have both. Yeah.
So I know you've been doing this for a very long time, right? Like a decade or more. And you put a lot of attention, thoughts behind your pieces. And I'm just curious, based off all the pieces that you've released so far, what's your favorite and why?
Oh man, you know what? Probably that rugby. Probably that Scholars Division rugby. My brother Ryan, stand up. Yes, sir. Just because many things, you got the North Carolina flag, born and raised. The number 15 is significant because we released it last year. And last year was our 15th year doing the brand. Scholars Division on the front, because I believe that, always a student. Even when I wasn't in school, I was always reading, always learning. So, even if you're not in school, you can still be in the Scholars Division if you're a student in life. And then, the bottom, it says knowledge and understanding, because I believe you need both to make it happen. But yeah, all the pieces are my favorite, but that's my number one. No, it's, I'll talk to you after. Thank you, guys.
So I have a script that I'm going to follow, talking about purpose and kind of readjusting and realigning after losing your plan and when the plan breaks. And that's kind of the title of my little monologue that I'm delivering today. I want to start by asking you to think about the thing people know you for. Not the thing you casually do, the thing that became your identity. The label that got you praise, the one that made you feel safe in rooms you weren't sure you belonged in. For me, that was being smart. Sometimes the moment that doesn't feel like a setback is actually teaching you how to lead when things don't go as planned. And that's something you'll use for the rest of your life.
This sounds crazy. I low-key kind of just came here to see why not. I'm pretty involved in COBE, so it's kind of it's just a thing. I honestly didn't really think too much about it because I was too busy talking to the freshman actually, just kind of giving him some COBE advice on how to navigate.
For me, that thing was being smart. And maybe for you, it's being dependable or talented or the one who always has a plan. So I want to start by asking you to think about the thing people know you for. Not the thing you casually do, but the thing that became your identity. The label that gets you praise, the one that makes people say, she's gonna be fine. The one that makes you feel safe in rooms you weren't even sure you belonged in. For me, that was being smart, as you heard. And maybe for you, it's being dependable or talented or the one who always has a plan. And when something works long enough, it quietly becomes who you think you are. You stop saying, I'm good at this, and you start saying, this is who I am. And that works until it doesn't. Because the truth is, when your identity is built on one thing, it only takes one moment for everything to feel unstable. And that's why losing a full ride to my dream college didn't just feel like losing an opportunity. It felt like losing the version of myself that made sense. I remember sitting there, staring at the screen, rereading that message, thinking it was gonna change, and realizing it wasn't. And at that moment, it wasn't even about the scholarship. It was a realization that the life that I had planned for myself was just not happening anymore. And that forces a different kind of question. If I'm not this anymore, who am I? It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but a quiet and heavy kind of fear. The kind that sits with you longer than expected. If you had to ever explain why your life doesn't look the way you thought it would by now, you probably know that feeling. You know what it's like to sit in a conversation and feel like you're giving an answer that sounds unfinished. You know what it's like to watch people move forward while you're trying to figure out what just happened. And maybe no one says anything to you directly, but you feel it anyway. That subtle question, so what are you doing now? And here's the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes we don't even rush to answer that question because we're driven. We rush because we're embarrassed we even have to answer it. We don't want to not have an answer to that question. We rush because we don't want people to see us in that middle. Now, I've always been a person of faith because God is good. And all the time. And I had to learn how to strengthen my faith in a way that actually worked for me. Something to hold on to while in this middle. Something I could rely on while nothing made sense. Because when everything external falls apart, you start to look for something internal, something spiritual, something grounding rather. And for me, that grounding started to show up in patterns, in small repeated moments I couldn't ignore. Seeing 11:11 on the clock, 222 on receipts, 444 on the random bus stops. And I realized angel numbers weren't about superstition, but about awareness. They forced me to pause and ask, what is this moment trying to tell me? That question followed me to the North Carolina A&T State University, a place I hadn't planned for since I was 14 and hadn't imagined for myself, and honestly didn't think was a part of my plan. But it ended up being the place that taught me how to move forward without a script. Because for the first time in my life, I didn't know what I was doing. And I couldn't hide behind being the smart one anymore because everybody here is the smart one. I had to actually figure things out, not perform it, not package it, but live it. I was supposed to stop performing who I thought I was supposed to be and start becoming who I actually needed to be. So one, I had to learn to stop treating discomfort like an emergency. Because when the plan broke, my instinct was to rush to fix it, replace it, or do something that made it look like I was still on track. Old me needed things to make sense immediately. Old me needed to look like I had it together, even if I knew I didn't. But new me had to learn to sit in those moments where I didn't have the answer yet. Because staying still felt dangerous. It felt like if I paused too long, people would notice I did not have it figured out anymore. But here's the truth. Every time you rush out of that discomfort, you skip from the part where you're actually learning from it. You don't ask yourself, what is this moment trying to show me? You just try to escape it. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Some of us don't fear failure. We fear being seen while we're figuring it out. For me, that looked like jumping into things too quickly. I didn't think it through, trying to rebuild a plan before I even understood why the first one fell apart. But growth didn't start until I slowed down, until I let myself sit in the uncertainty long enough to understand it. That was 222, the tension of not knowing but being asked to trust anyway. That's where clarity started, not in the answers, but in the questions I finally allowed myself to ask. 2, I had to learn how to fail without disappearing. The second thing, because, child, when something didn't work, I took it personally. Old me would pull back, get quiet, convince myself I was not ready yet. And I know I'm not the only one that does that. You mess up once and then suddenly you don't want to be seen no more. You don't think okay, maybe that just didn't work. You think maybe I don't work. Maybe I'm not good enough. But I learned something different. Clarity doesn't come from getting everything right. It comes from staying in the room. It comes from choosing to let every attempt not need to work, but continue to show up after it, to finish things that weren't perfect, to ask questions I felt embarrassed to ask, and to admit when something just wasn't for me. Not everything's gonna work, y'all. Because here's another uncomfortable truth. We don't always quit because we can't do something. We quit because we don't want to feel what comes with learning it. 333 is alignment, mind, body, and spirit. A quiet confirmation that even when things feel off, you are still being supported. And sometimes support doesn't look like things working out. It looks like you becoming someone who can handle when they don't. Every time I stayed instead of shrinking, I learned something specific about me, what drained me, what energized me, what felt aligned. Failure wasn't a stop sign, but a filter. And the more I let it filter, the clearer my direction came. 3, I had to learn to separate my worth from my outcomes. That was the hardest one. Because for a long time, results were my everything. Grades, wins, acceptances, that's how I knew I was doing okay. So when something didn't work, it didn't just feel like a bad result, it felt like a reflection of me, of my failures. And here's the truth, when your identity is tied to outcomes, every decision becomes heavy. Because now you're not just choosing what to do, you're protecting who you are. The old me made decisions from fear. Fear of being wrong, fear of failing publicly, fear of losing the identity I had built. But new me had to learn to move differently. Once I stopped letting outcomes define me, I could think clearly. I could take risks without feeling like I was risking my identity. I could pivot without thinking I had failed. I could adjust without feeling lost. 444 is stability, protection, the reminder to stay grounded while everything feels uncertain. And I had to learn that grounding doesn't come from having answers. It comes from knowing you can stand without them. Some food for thought, sometimes we don't want success. We want to look like we have it because beyond the flashy cars and the big house, we don't know what fulfills us. And that's the ultimate determinant of success. And that shift for me changed everything. I stopped chasing what looked impressive and started chasing what made sense for me. My past no longer felt frantic and started feeling intentional, which is why all of this matters, especially for those of us who want to lead. Because in business or in life, you can spend months building a strategy, and one shift in the market, one misread, one decision can change everything overnight. Plans will fail, strategies will miss, things will not go the way you expected. And in those moments, people will look at you, and they're not looking for perfection, they're not looking for certainty, but they're looking for steadiness, for someone who doesn't panic when things shift, for someone who can say, okay, this didn't work, but we're not done. That kind of leadership doesn't come from always getting it right. It comes from learning how to stay grounded when things don't. So if there's one thing I want to leave with you today, it's this. At some point in your life, the plan is going to break if it hasn't already. And when it does, you're going to feel the urge to rush to fix it, replace it, explain it, to make it look like you're still moving in a straight line, but you're not. And that's okay. Because real life doesn't move in straight lines, it moves in adjustments. When I lost that full ride, I thought I had fallen off track. My life was over, oh my God. But I hadn't, because I'm here. That was 111, a beginning I didn't ask for, a reset I didn't want, but still a beginning. That was being rerouting. Rerouting can feel uncomfortable because it forces you to move without certainty. But it doesn't mean you're lost, it means you're still moving. 5, 5, 5. That's change. That's optional change, transformational change. The kind that disrupts everything you thought was permanent so you can become someone you never imagined. So if you're in a moment right now where things feel unclear, where your plan doesn't look the way you thought it would, hear this. You're not behind, you're not off track. You're being expanded. I was being expanded. Now I walk into rooms differently. I'm in front of you, not because I have everything figured out. Whew, I do not. But because I trust myself to figure it out. And that is what will carry you further than any perfect plan ever could. And maybe that's what success can be. Not having the plan, but having in your faith in yourself and God or whoever you believe in, even when the plan breaks, having faith that there is better to come. That's it, y'all.
Great presentation.
If anyone has any questions?
Comments?
Yes.
Bravo. You are so mature, so early. I am so proud, very proud of you. You are well ahead of the game. People older than me and you have surpassed them already. Keep up the great work.
Yes.
So, knowing what you know now, after going through the plan breaking in the first place, do you feel that if you would apply the same knowledge you know now to when you lost your full ride scholarship to the dream school that you wanted to go to, do you feel that that would have changed kind of your outlook on some things or how you kind of went about certain things?
Absolutely. However, I think that everything happened for that specific reason. I wouldn't have those outcomes, or I wouldn't have this knowledge now had I not had those situations. So even when I was applying there, I probably had something going on or some sort of life-altering, or what I thought was life-altering situation. And I probably had some, mentality or something, but I was a whole different person because of the decisions I made or the outcomes that I had, if that makes sense. So I think I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I couldn't think about like that what if or what happened or why not, but then I'm gonna be here. And I honestly, truly do think that everything happens for a reason. Yeah, everything does happen for a reason. It puts you exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Well, that's me. Thank you all.
There's so many different services and everything provided here at HBCUs. I know people who do hair, nails, lashes. I even know somebody who gives facials of all things. So I thought of this, a service fair that allowed all the student small businesses here to kind of come together, allow to better promote their businesses here. It encourages and innovates and inspires the different entrepreneurial spirits here of young student small businesses.
Good.
I feel like you did.
All right. All right. Good.
The biggest takeaway that I got from you was you were very poised. I think initially it seemed like you were maybe a little timid or like, okay, man, this is like the real deal. But the more you began to talk, and then I think the second and third time that you took the stage, I felt your confidence increased every time. And so, but I think overall you did a fantastic, your content was really, really good.
HBCUs were founded not just to educate, but to support those with the history of being excluded. For a long time, HBCUs have been known as hotbeds for young entrepreneurs. Well, good evening again. Today, I wanted to start tonight off by asking everyone a question. So, by a show of hands, how many of you in this room have ever been to the one and only Jiha?
Hey, yeah.
So then y'all get it. You really want to have fun, look fly, and have a great time. And I shared the exact same sentiment. Although for me, my Jiha didn't exactly go as planned. So for starters, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Dylan Tidmore. I'm from Newport News, Virginia, and I'm a freshman honors business administration management student here at the college. Yeah. So for some context, when I came here, I didn't know anyone. And Jiha was coming up, and I desperately needed a haircut, but I didn't know anybody give me one. I hadn't got one since I left home, which was 2 months prior. And to be quite frank, I felt like a Sasquatch. Thankfully, I heard of some guy in my building who gave haircuts, and I asked if he could give me one, and he agreed. Although when I asked, I never got a date, time, place, when, where, exactly everything you need to show up and get the haircut, I did not have. And so the Friday Jiho came around and I was panicking like crazy. I was walking all around, I could not get in touch with dude, first of all. I was walking all around campus very passionately, but with no destination. I was texting my mother like crazy as if she could do anything from 4 hours away. And then eventually I plopped into my bed, depressively accepting my fate. As I speak about it now, it's quite humorous because in the moment, it really felt like the end of the world. I was going into my first homecoming as a college student, and I couldn't find anyone to give me a taper. In retrospect, I thought I needed a haircut, but what I really needed was a connection. That moment of overgrown curls showed me something bigger than the bad Jiho I envisioned. It showed me a gap in our community. Furthermore, leading me today to want to talk to you about the economy we have on this campus and the importance of supporting those in it. And for me, that all started with Jiho. So let me ask you another question. Whether you're currently in college or you were at one point, how many of you know someone who cut hair, do nails, braid, wig installs, shoot photos, do makeup? Heck, I even know someone who gets facials, out of all things. What if I told you our campus is already an economy, a network of goods and services in circulation? Now, as I'm sure you all know, an economy is, like I said, where goods and services are exchanged, value is built, and money circulates. We already create and sell value. It's somewhat circulated internally, but how can we combine these individualities into a community, an economy? Research shows that students who are exposed to entrepreneurship from an early age are more likely to start their own ventures later, which is especially true for girls, all proven by the School of Business at Northwestern. Entrepreneurial economies and environments increase confidence, innovation, and problem-solving skills. And being in an environment surrounded by those furthermore fosters and builds those traits in others. The Kauffman Foundation explains that on-ramps in entrepreneurial environments grow networks by bringing in more talent, fostering diversity, and allowing serendipitous interactions that lead to the creation of new ideas. These types of environments thrive where networks, people, visibility, and support systems exist. And where else is that so concentrated and built than at HBCU? Both are collaborative cultures that are rich in social capital and tied to much greater things. HBCUs were founded not just to educate, but to support those who have a long history of being excluded. And for a while now, HBCUs have been known to be a hotbed for young entrepreneurs. Schools like Tennessee State, Howard, Tuskegee, Clark Atlanta, FAMU, A&T. Institutions such as these cultivated and inspired Black professionals, leaders, and entrepreneurs, all grounded on the basis of providing space for the spaceless, making each one of those people I just named in the schools a representation of exactly what HBCU founders fought and built for. When money and determination stays within a community, it builds impact, it builds circulation, and it strengthens a relationship. But commerce and economy are not just about money, it's much bigger. Community is built through commerce and goodwill. By booking you, by booking your service, by supporting your brand, I'm entrusting you. Furthermore, developing a relationship, reputation, and a network with you. And as a new student in a completely new environment, these are the things that can make or break your first few experiences. Like I said, this is all bigger than just about making money. It's about solving problems, meeting needs, helping others, serving the community, and all of which building worthwhile relationships, all of which are the beauty of college and of why people testify so much to why it's the best years of their life. Here at A&T, we promote the greatness of ourselves in the school we attend. The pride it is to be an Aggie because we're joining a line of greatness. But why don't we start building the greatness while we're here rather than it be something to refer to after we graduate? How can we preach but not support? When freshmen first arrive to this campus, the majority don't know who to book, don't know who to do what. They mostly go off campus for services, and you know they don't got to cars, so it's money. And most importantly, they don't know who to entrust. Encouragement without infrastructure leads to underutilization and falls flat. So, how can the school truly support the students greater and put true meaning behind Aggie pride? Well, first off, they can have more events suited to the student-ran service businesses here on campus, such as the Aggie Service Expo, an opportunity and expo rooted in the service and economic circulation provided by the school to aid the student-run service businesses and make adjusting to the environment of A&T much easier. An event during Welcome Week, or at least the first couple weeks of classes, that should truly support students in integrating themselves into the life here we have at Aggieland. No random vendors or businesses from down the street, to students from students, where any service is welcome. And why not take it a step further? We have 1891 Connect for students to connect with, apply, and be informed of different organizations and positions. Why not have one for the student-ran service businesses too? Aggie Service Central, somewhere where students can learn about and book appointments for their different services, or where businesses can post promotionals and market themselves and open them up to a greater audience. Once again, truly connecting the community we have here on this campus. Now, to get a better insight of what it really entails to have a student service business, I interviewed someone who did. Zion Sedora, who was the owner and CEO of Nail by Zion Sedora, she comes from a family of entrepreneurs and had a desire from the age of 14 to start her own business. She now runs her own business out of her dorm in Blair Hall, right across the hall from me. And through talking with her, I learned a lot about her and her business. She markets mostly and gets most of her customers through social media and word of mouth, having an equal mix of new and returning. And I asked her, what are some of the things the school can do to aid that as well as aid her business in the long run? She suggested they could offer more events on transformative and substantial entrepreneurship, like a workshop. But she also very much so mentioned that she would be interested in participating in events such as the Aggie Service Intro, where she can show off her business and meet new people. Zion is proof of what entrepreneurial environments can produce. Young, budding, and inspired entrepreneurs with a desire to grow something that can serve both them and their community. Access to networks increase business survival rates. Visibility increases opportunity, and peer-to-peer ecosystems create sustainable microeconomies. And this is all especially true for the Black community. I mean, just think of your communities now or from childhood or whatever. How many of you or yourselves or your family members had a personal relationship with someone who did their hair, who did their nails, any service? I mean, hey, I also talked to the barber who did my hair at 3. We have talent built into our community and ourselves. It's our job to foster and utilize it. Talent without visibility struggles, but talent with infrastructure thrives. HBCUs were built in response to exclusion. They became spaces of self-determination and desires for success. And through the culture and community that those spaces cultivated, they become that tenfold, the blueprint for Black success. If we're serious about honoring that legacy, we must build systems that empower each other now. That Friday of GHO, when I was going through my 5 stages of grief due to my lack of a haircut, I thought I had a haircut problem. But what I really had was an ecosystem problem, a connection problem, a community problem. If we want our school to be known as a place that produces and supports student success, we cannot wait until graduation to support them. We must start investing in them now. Because community isn't built when we walk across that stage. It's built every time we invest in each other before we get there. Through the infrastructure we have at A&T, it's our jobs as students to provide with it. It's your jobs as consumers to invest in it, and it's the school's job as a provider to cultivate it. So I urge you, support and invest in the future of our world and the future of our entrepreneurs. Show them what true community is and show them what true Aggie Pride is. Thank you. Any questions?
Hi. You mentioned connections. So I graduated from A&T 2018. I was on the Student University Activities Board, and we had the same problem. So I implemented a program called Aggie Market Fridays, where we had student vendors come out, and everybody was a vendor, and they offered their different services. But it took a student coming to my office hours and saying, hey, I need X, Y, and Z. And sometimes you got to go out there and find those connections, and it landed me to run for the student programming position. So that was my first student, my first activity, my first event on campus. And I was like, wow, to see how many like services that people have on campus that we don't really know about because we don't know people or we don't even know where to start. So my suggestion is maybe linking with those different student activities like representatives, because even if the program isn't implemented now, you always have the opportunity to create that. So I don't know if Aggie Market Fridays is still a thing, but like during my term here, we made sure it was every year. So maybe refreshing that, going to different student leaders who may be able to help you do this program, because I think it's something that could benefit all students, and you never know, it could be something that I could see coming back for another 4 years or whoever. So.
Yeah, for sure. I know we have the expo coming up, as well as we had something like a marketplace during GHO, but it wasn't really like services. It was mostly selling different businesses and brands. But thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Great job.
My question is difficult. Did you ever get a haircut?
So my friend who I visited, I called him and I told him to bring his clippers, and so he cut me in his hotel.
Make it happen. Yeah.
Make it happen.
That's good.
So, excellent idea. However, have you considered insurance for the young lady that does nails to prevent infections and things like that? If she were to do someone's nails and they got an infection, have you considered collaborating with an insurance company to cover the students that offer the services to protect them?
Well, I kind of had that kind of, I kind of considered that part because I know our fire alarm was going off a lot because of the hair and everything like that. I think that's something I more so have to, I think that's more so something I have to talk to with the services of their own, because as you know, they're college students, we're not all professionals. And so I think that's something that definitely needs to be looked into, as well as if we're pursuing this as an option, and then it definitely needs to be a factor. Thank you.
What was your initial influence to come to A&T? I heard you were from the Newport News.
So, oh my gosh, it's a long story. But my friend is sorry to hear that. But essentially, I didn't really know what school I was going to. But essentially, I live in Newport News, which is 20 minutes from Hampton. So it really came down to here at Hampton. But I really much so wanted to forge my own path, because I think Hampton would have, no shade to them, but it's I think it would have been too much like high school. So I wanted a new experience, and so I came here.
I have a question. So when it comes to the kind of the interactions and the connections you were talking about within the Aggie, it was Aggie Service Central, which is the app you were talking about, which is possible. What are some because I know that people, I'm not sure exactly how it works, but are you saying that for those type of services, people can post about how their service went, or they can leave comments or leave reviews on how the service went? Or can you just explain a little bit more about it?
Well, yeah, for sure. So I think that's actually a good idea for it. But I was more so thinking about how there's a lot of Instagram posting, and I was thinking through 1891 Connect, there's a bunch of how they posted different events and all those kind of things. Ooh, excuse me. I was thinking more so for that, as well as add a booking thing, because there's a lot of other sites. But I think a review thing would be a great thing to add, so thank you.
Hi, so I just had a question about I know that you mentioned services, sometimes it's services, sometimes it's people selling things, and kind of how those are kind of two different service-based versus product-based. have you talked to maybe anybody in the financial aid department about possible funding?
No, I have not. I just kind of came up with this.
Okay, so I was just gonna say my suggestion was possibly talking to somebody in financial aid office about funding, because a lot of times service-based businesses, they don't have the funding to get the proper products or tools. And a lot of times when people hear funding, like, or grants, like free money, that's what can bring people together. And even if, you know, it's one or two recipients of that funding, whether it's like $100 or $500 or something, even though it might be two people, right? Like the other people who have came together, that's also like building an ecosystem to where it's like, oh, well, even if we didn't get the funding, now we're all in the same room. And money is just a great thing to bring people together. And I'm sure that somebody in the financial aid office would be open to, you know, supporting you know, their students as far as like, you know, giving them funding for their services. So just a suggestion.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So Dylan, great presentation. As a D's student, D's scholar, what does collaboration with the Willie A. D's College of Business and Economics look like? Because i.e. the Style Studio will be having a student marketplace and a vendor marketplace in about 2 weeks. So what does collaboration look like as we go forward with the service market that you're talking about?
Well, I think collaboration will, like, first, I know, like, when I said I am video design, she first off started just mentioning a workshop to where she could learn new things to actually implement into her business. So I think that would kind of be more so the first step. And then seeing how that more so responds, and if services are interested, because this is all in theory, of course. And then we can move towards then maybe trying to figure out how we can implement a more entrepreneurial mindset as well as a plan through the D's College Business and their teachings.
All right, Dylan, amazing presentation. And out of everything that you said, I'm extremely happy that you got a haircut for homecoming, because that would have been tragic for you to be on the yard feeling like Sasquatch.
So I actually didn't. I didn't get it till Sunday morning.
Oh.
So.
Oh. You still was outside though, right? Yeah, okay, it's Kobe talking.
With the bandana, yes.
All right, my question is, again, amazing presentation, amazing concept. What is next for you and what is next for this idea?
I think what's next for me is, first of all, seeing what I can do. Maybe I've made new connections through this, so maybe inquiring with them and seeing how this could actually be implemented, as well as using my network. Like I said, the person I went to, she lived across the hall from me, so maybe see more people who live in my building who would be interested in this, even the one who didn't give me the haircut, as well as then more so maybe going to the college with it, creating a proposal, going to the college with it, and seeing if that's something that can actually be done.
Well, good evening and welcome to the initial COBE talk. You know, I think I'm a little fly by nature, right? And I am definitely on the other side of when the plan breaks. And guess what? I used to do perms in the basement of Mara Hall for my line sisters. So all the things that you all have shared, I have lived. Good evening. It is my pleasure to welcome you. My name is Dean Keisha Williams-Smith, and I serve here as an academic leader here at the Willie A. D's College of Business and Economics. And this is literally the hottest ticket in town in terms of COBE talk. So can we pause and thank these students for their wisdom? Standing ovation, standing ovation. And as we close out this evening, the wisdom that was shared, the ideation that was shared, I am ready to run through the wall because I'm ready for the next one. And for all of the family and supporters and faculty members and staff that came out, thank you. I mean, I see proud papas in here. I mean, all that good stuff. And so this is the community that we are creating here in the D's College. And so if people have heard me before, it is the one D's community because it takes all of us to move these students to their next. So I'm just here as a kid from Halifax that came through these halls a couple of years ago, and to be able to stand here and serve and to see the next generation, oh man, this makes me very excited. So Tell all your friends and family. This first installment was amazing. Can you just imagine what the next one is going to be like? So I don't know. I might have to get myself together and get some prep and all this and see if I can come and do a little talk here as well. And so what I will share with you this evening, this is what we see every day here in the Dees College. And so if this didn't make you excited, well, I don't know if you have a pulse, because this should really make you excited. This is our first installment. We want to do this again, so come back and see us. And then guess what? Did you know that the Dees College has its own YouTube channel? We have a streaming library. And so this is an opportunity for you to engage with us even from afar. So whether you're a family member, a friend, this is an opportunity that you get to see a lot of the programming that happens right here in the Dees College. Whether you have a ticket or not, you can engage with us. So again, thank you for supporting our students. Thank you for being who you are. Continue in success. And as I like to say, I hope to see you in the hallways real soon.
My name is Wesley Alford.
I'm Marie Alford.
And Justin is our oldest son, born on his dad's birthday. But Justin, we're proud of HBCU, A&T, and Justin has made us so proud. He's been following his dream for so long, but we give God all the credit because that's what we instilled in Justin. And if he just trusts in God and continue to follow his dream, we know that the sky's not the limit, it's just the view. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, I'm just so proud of him. You know, I knew that he would do a good job, and I'm glad that we had the opportunity to see exactly how his story has developed.
Exactly.
And, you know, with him being in the salon and sitting there and I'm doing hair, I never knew that it was instilled in him like it did. So I just thank God for him, and thank you for allowing us to speak.
Thank you so much.
All right.
No problem. It started off as a trip, but you know, when we talked, it just turned into real mentorship. And then I got an email, and I said, "Wait, I recognize that name." Then I came here, and I said, "Oh, it's my cool. Okay, we good. We good to go." But yeah, it was a great opportunity. Absolutely.
You missed it on the side. Then I got nothing to do.
Your suit look good. I was literally like, your mom let you get the suit. Because I've known Dylan for I've actually known Dylan for about 6 months. And the reason why I met him is because my mom, his mom, and a friend of ours who's right behind you, Brooke over there, our parents are best friends. And so growing up, we never knew each other. In the first week of school, it was Brooke's birthday. And so we were like, we're gonna go out for Brooke's birthday. So ever since then, we've been close. And the idea he had, we had talked about it. Because he came to me first about the haircut. I was like, I can't cut you up now, but we can find out a situation, get you fixed up. And it didn't really work out, but that's why I was so excited. But you did an amazing job. I'm so proud of you, my little angel.
This is my mom, Tanya Gillian.
I am overcome with emotion, but I'm so proud of him. I thought he did an amazing job. I thought all the speakers were great, but he did an amazing job with tying the business, the economics aspect, confidence, some humor, so keeping the audience entertained, and selling his ideas. So great job. I'm so grateful to be a part of this. I'm glad that Dylan took the step and auditioned because he was hesitant to do so as a freshman. And I love the idea that the Dees College is putting on, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
I used to always love like leadership and like public speaking. So that's like where kind of you all saw it. And like through my leadership, I was able to get those public speaking involvements and everything like that. And then eventually I came here, and then my mom actually saw the email, and I'll give her the credit. She does, I think I'm a realist, like maybe too much of a realist, where I'll count myself out sometimes. But she gives me a little bit of delusion to which where I feel like I can do stuff, hence this. And so, yeah, I count myself out too much, but she makes sure to kind of encourage me to do it. But yes, because my mom, my parents are divorced, so like from a young age, it was like always her and I, and she used to always take me everywhere with her. She used to take me to all of my soccer games, even like right after school, I would change her car. And so I'm always thankful for the way she supports me, even coming down here. Even when I first came down, she came here twice, so I really appreciate it. And she kind of always, if I text her up and say I need her to do something for me, she'll get it done. So I really appreciate her, and I'm thankful for everything she does for me. Thank you, Mother, so much for helping me and getting me through all this. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, we were just excited to come and support the students, and they did a wonderful job.
Excellent job.
All excellent presentations for the very first COBE Talks. It was great to see their professionalism, their confidence as they shared, and to hear their creative ideas about what they were doing and what the university can do. I really loved the background that the young man spoke about his brand. You could hear all of the marketing and all of the education that he's receiving here at A&T throughout his presentation. So it's been wonderful.
So impressed with each of these students here, and so impressed with what the College or School of Business is doing here. The dean here, just having an opportunity to speak with her as well too. They were very proficient. They were very professional in what they shared, and their business concepts was awesome. So we are simply just enamored to have been here, to have been supportive to the program as alumnus from this university. We're thankful to have been here on tonight. Excellent job. We commend this university and this business school.
My HBCU experience, particularly here at North Carolina A&T, meant everything, because the first thing I felt was it felt like family.
A sense of family.
And it felt like support. And I remember the late Dean Craig, when I was struggling one year, struggling as in my first major, accounting, and he said, you might want to consider changing your major. And I had always wanted to be in education. So I switched my major from accounting to business education, and that's where everything flowed smoothly. So really the level of support, the feeling of family at A&T is what really mattered to me.
I would say ditto to that. Community, competence, and courage. The community, because of not only the students that were here, even in the cafeterias, we were in the cafeteria, our classes, the professors, they were more than simply just teaching you. They felt like family, encouraging you. I have the same example of Dean Craig encouraging me. I remember one particular year I was going through, and I remember sitting in his office and him reminding me, you can do this. And I look at it today. I went on to get a master's degree at Princeton Theological Seminary, and went on to get my doctoral degree at United Theological Seminary and North Carolina A&T State University. This HBCU experience was the foundation and the springboard to everything I believe educationally that I have accomplished, and I'm so grateful and most thankful for the community here at A&T.
Going to pick 3 students for this semester. This will be your stage.
Discover more insights, experiences, and lessons from the COBE Talks Season 1 mini-series. To watch the full episodes, subscribe to our YouTube page today.
So stay tuned.